host, you're my guest. You've come over the welcome mat. I've got rid of that fellow Campbell of the Newry Reporter. He played a bad trick on me this morning. I had written about something, and I told the editor that I wanted young Ryan to do the story. It's the story of the Winter Warmth Pledge.
Right.
I said, I value the focused angularity of Campbell, but I think the sensitivity of Ryan Sands would be more appropriate for the story. Well, sure, didn't the editor put that up in the place? He's got his leg pulled all week, and he spent the last half hour pulling my leg.
All right, right.
We've got good people with us now from the St. Joseph's Conference of the St. Vincent de Paul Society in Newry. I've got, you're very, very welcome, Míceal Murphy.
Thanks, Ron.
And Pat, how are you? Good to see you. Pat Connelly, good to see you.
Thanks, Ron.
And you're coming very close to the commencement of your campaign. It's a specific campaign for Christmas, is it?
We try to have it, I mean, it goes on all year round. I mean, there are demands all year, but we find at this time that people coming into the cold weather, it's a big demand for people, a big ask for people to provide heating for the house. I mean, in many cases it's heat or eat, and that certainly shouldn't be a case.
Not in the present.
And it's a big expense.
Yeah.
You know, in the past you could have said, you know, a couple of bags of coal.
Yeah.
That you could have managed out for your benefit, but
no.
You're now looking at minimum deliveries of £100.
And folk who are in some difficulty.
Yes.
And they phone up and say, oh, well, a minimum delivery. How can they manage this? It's a difficult one.
It
it's
really
good on credit union, because Brendan over there is a good system where folk can borrow for their oil. And that will last them through, and it's at minimal interest, which is very, very good as well. You're still going out on Monday nights, yes?
Still going out on Monday nights, yeah.
Give the people, each of you, you told me on Saturday when we met, Pat, you told me of a house that you had gone to. You opened the door, and what you saw was a great testimony to the paucity of experience that the person was having.
Yes.
Very difficult situation. Tell me about that. Tell the people about that.
Well, this was a young man, and I went to visit with, I think, Míceal, and we went in, found his room, knocked the door, and he opened the door.
Was he a room in a house of many rooms?
Yes.
Was that the way it was?
Yes. Yeah.
In the house he had access to a shared kitchen and a bathroom, but his room, his private space, he opened the door, and we couldn't literally walk in because he was sitting on the bed with his television sitting on top of a little fridge which held his food, and there literally wasn't room for anything else in the room. He couldn't sit and watch his TV in a chair. There just wasn't room. That's what he lives in.
What would that do to a man's psychology? It put you mad.
It really is.
Prisoners in McGabbery are better.
Correct, yes. Yeah. I mean, the room was probably 8 by 10.
Yes,
my good.
Very, very small.
It had a single bed in it and little else. But I mean, it's the very thought of someone having to, I mean, that's their space. And I mean, where do they go? Do they walk around the town for the rest of the day? So in those circumstances, not in those in any circumstances, we will advise them to call into our drop-in centre.
Yes.
A wonderful centre it is.
I mean,
I get good soup in there, I tell you, it's good.
I went down the other morning, and there's a young fella sitting there. There's a number of people there. So I didn't sit down and had a chat. He didn't know who I was. And then I said, well, how's things going? He says, how's things going? He says, brilliant. He says, fruit and fibre for cereal, scrambled egg and toast, and a cup of tea. He said you couldn't beat it. I said, well, you're getting a better breakfast than I got.
and Mario's famous milkshake, his banana milkshake.
Yeah.
If you don't take the banana milkshake, he makes sure you take it.
He's a good character.
He's a wonderful fellow. He's good. Yeah. But I think the people who are in there, like the folk that one might meet somewhere else in similar circumstances, the conversation that occurs,
that's right,
is possibly more important. Your visitation and talking, possibly more important on a weekly basis than any largesse that you might bring.
We put a television into the drop-in centre, and we sort of talked about it for a while with Mario, and thought, you know, will this stopped the art of conversation.
I don't think so.
But it hasn't. I mean, people go there, they meet, they sit and they talk,
Yeah.
they
Well,
There's
play.
a great sense of
play
camaraderie,
chess and
you know.
yeah,
everything on the
absolutely.
computer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's good. How long has that been going now?
It must be going about 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
And there is a constant need
Well,
for
it's
it.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
we're talking about 5,000-6,000 people a year passing through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and it's somewhere that, you know, the likes of the person we talked about, it's somewhere that they can go during the day, they can meet some other people, they can have a bit of crack, they're warm and they're dry and they're fed.
Yeah, it's about where they go, because I remember a friend of mine in Dublin, he told me that he would go and he would get the late bus out of Dublin for Belfast, and he has the card, the travel
Yeah,
pass,
yeah.
no charge. And he simply said, look, I go to Belfast, it takes a couple of hours, I spend an hour wandering around in the station, blah, blah, maybe manage a coffee if I can. And then 2 hours later, I'm back on the next bus down, the late bus back to Dublin. And I'm getting into Dublin at 5 in the morning, 5 or whatever in the morning.
Yeah.
And I've been warm, I've been dry. And he said, as long as I keep myself
All night.
tidy
Yeah.
and don't smell,
Yeah.
nobody minds.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That
It's
is
amazing.
occurring.
Yeah.
But I was musing earlier that my father was one of you lot
Yes, I saw
60
that.
years ago.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and
I'm in a
that leads
situation
me-
where I remember your father being being the
it great?
treasurer
Isn't
of
it
St.
great?
Joseph's Conference.
I don't, I'm far younger than
Yeah,
that.
you would be. You would be. But it's a privilege to know that he was there, and
Yeah.
it gives me great joy to know
Yeah.
that he was there. But it also takes my mind further back, because you're 100 and something years in existence.
150.
50
150.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
150 years of caring.
Continuous carrying. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's no sort of break for whatever.
No.
I
And if
mean,
you take the Monday nights, the visitations, they don't exist without the Sunday masses.
right, yeah,
That's right.
They don't exist without the people being moved to be caring and kind.
It's very much a community thing. I
Yeah.
mean, people will help us, and we in turn then go out and help others. So it's a form of recycling.
Absolutely.
You know.
And it's a care, constancy
Yeah,
of caring
yeah,
that's
yes.
there.
For many people, I mean, it's people will request help so that they know on Monday night or Tuesday night or some other night someone will knock their door. It's not what you bring. It's the fact that
you bring
The
yourself.
fact you bring
Yes,
yourself.
yeah.
And,
And
you
take
sit and you have
time.
the bit of crack and the bit of banter with them.
And part is, I'm sure the most difficult part of doing it. I would have thought once upon a time that the difficult thing would have been going. The difficult thing is leaving.
Yes, that's right.
First of all, how do you have a strategy for leaving if
Yeah,
someone needs
yeah,
you there?
yeah.
And that's amazing. I saw one young woman recently in a situation, and she was more happy than I thought she should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand it,
Yeah.
and she was jumping with happiness. And I said, "Why are you so happy?" Oh, she said, "I'm back with my mum again. Back with my mum again.
Yeah.
Off the streets."
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And my lad has a 6-month bed, i.e., he had got a place to stay for
In
6
the
months.
hostel, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
And then her friend wasn't quite so fortunate, and she was like a stick insect,
Mm-hmm.
a woman of about 25, and her flesh was blue and broken, and she just sat staring, and the ladies who were helping her took her, got her showered and things like that. But this is reality in
Yeah, I
Northern
think-
Ireland.
Yes.
I think the thing that we need to do, Rowan, is we need to give people hope
Yeah.
that it will get better.
Yes. Yeah.
You
And
know.
whether it be the Monday night getting better, or whether it be getting the strength from your visits and from your contact and from your community masses and things like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that people will go to, whether you begin to grow out of that emptiness a sense of community again
Yes.
that you belong
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
That's ultimately the way
Yeah.
forward.
But I mean,
suppose.
it's amazing. We did a visit yesterday, and the person that we visited said, "I didn't know there was an organisation who would do this for me."
Boys dear.
And that's, as I say, 150 years on the go,
Yeah.
and people are
Yeah.
still.
And it's the St. Vincent de Paul Society we're talking about. 150 years on the go.
But
in
we
Newry.
haven't been there all that
Well,
time.
Míceal nearly.
Hair, look
Pat's
at
only a new
hair,
recruit.
look at the colour of the hair, you see. So listen to me. I've got with me, and you're staying with me, I hope.
Right.
I've got Míceal Murphy and Pat Crawley of the St Vincent de Paul in Newry, and we're looking for winter warmth, aren't we?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and you'll be doing collections at the churches.
We will, yes. Well, our annual appeal will be coming up on the 14th of December.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and then we have the charity lunches on
It's happening
at
as well.
the beginning
the
of
toys,
December.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, I hope by the beginning of December I will have had a substantial response to my winter warmth pledge for you.
Yes, yes.
And we got a few bob last year for you.
Yeah.
And the hope is that we'll do better this year.
Right.
I'm
Thank
going
you,
to
Ron.
sort of extend this across Northern Ireland this year.
right,
Oh, brilliant.
yeah,
And we'll take an ad in the, I'll put an ad in the Irish News.
right,
And
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick's very kind.
right.
And we'll put the ad in. But fundamentally, well, tell the people what it is. Fundamentally, if you're a certain age, not him, the Queen looks with benevolence and kindness upon you, and she will give you 250 pounds every year at this time to heat your home. Now, there are those of us who get it and don't really, really need it. And it just goes into the bank account and it's absorbed and it's out again. We don't need it.
No.
So what we were able to do last year, I think we got about
7,500.
Yes. 7,500 for you last year.
Yeah.
Those in the community who get it and don't need it decided they would give it to the St Vincent de Paul. And that's all we're asking this year as well. If you're fortunate enough to be okay, that you're going to be warm at Christmas, that you're going to be fed at Christmas, that it's not going to be a big deal for you if you give 200 quid away.
Yeah.
That money that comes to you from the government to the St Vincent de Paul Society in your town. And if you're watching and if you have something similar in Australia at the moment, or in Manhattan, you can do something similar, you know. So we'll be doing that again, and hopefully we'll get you some money there. And thank you very, very much indeed for your coats. You're giving the
yes, yeah.
These people also reach out beyond Newry and send coats every Saturday to folk in Dublin, in Brother Kevin's citadel of caring for the homeless in Dublin.
Yeah.
And you want to see the folk, they're so happy to get
Yeah.
the
I'm
coats.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
I think we'll remind people, if we may, boys, of the origin of this wonderful society.
Yeah. Well, the society was founded in 1833 by a 19-year-old student called Frederick Osnam, who was a student at the Sorbonne University. And like people of their time, they would have got together just in the evenings for a bit of chat and what was happening in the world and how they would solve all the problems of the world.
We do that in Grounded today.
Yeah, but somewhere during the conversation, one of his colleagues said to him, "You know, your church was once a great church," but he said, "What is it doing for the poor?" And that triggered something in Frederick. And at that time, he got a group of 6 of them got together and started helping the poor. And that was really the foundation of the Society of St Vincent de Paul.
And a young man.
1833,
Yeah.
19, and it came to Newry in 1853.
Yeah. Boys, we three share something, a commonality. And it's a commonality of having been scouts.
Yes.
Members
Right.
of the
Yeah.
Scouts
Yeah.
in Newry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was great.
it was.
Fantastic.
Do you know, am I wrong in thinking, but anyone who was ever associated with Scouts, there's a man in Africa said this to me, when he looked out across the valley of the island of Topo, in the lakes down at Lagos, and as he looked out, and he had been taught there by the SMA fathers.
Right.
It's now derelict, it's gone.
Yeah.
The time of Biafra, the military took it over as their headquarters. And the Baba looked out, he says, anyone who ever came here to be taught by the fathers never had his name associated with any bad thing.
Right.
Similarly to Scouts.
Same thing.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, we were given values, boys,
That's right.
in Scouting.
Good grounding.
And the other thing is Tom, Father Tom of again of Africa, in the documentary I made with him, he said, you know, Rowan, he said, you can, in Africa, you can be a Boy Scout forever. So we understand that.
Yeah.
But we have another 10 minutes to go, lads, and really what we're talking about is the extent of the need and how.
Yeah.
I have no hesitation in asking people to help until it hurts.
Yes.
Because it's like stubbing your finger on something.
Yeah.
The hurt is but a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you give to the heating campaign of these folk over the Christmas period, there's no hurt because the warmth of knowing of what you've done stays with you throughout the Christmas.
Yeah, and the point about it as well, Ron, is that when we go to help people with the heating, we will say to them, I mean, this was actually donated by someone.
Yeah, for you.
For you.
Which is a great thing.
It is.
Because suddenly the person feels, Christ, I'm loved.
That's right.
That's right.
There's somebody cares about me, apart from the fact of St. Vincent de Paul Society.
Yeah,
You know, there are people out there who are giving to us, and we can only give because you, as the public, give.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you don't give, I mean, there's
You
nothing
just
we
don't
can do.
stop.
But there's a constancy of giving and
Yes.
a constancy of care.
People in Newry are very generous.
They
are.
It's great.
Absolutely.
It's great to see it.
Yeah.
And already I'm pleased to tell you 500, 500, 200, that's how much, that's 1,200.
Yes.
Already.
Already.
From
Goodness.
people, for you lot. That's the beginning of the thing.
Thank you very much.
So we'll
Thank you.
we'll talk today to the young Mr. Fitzpatrick and get the
Right,
Irish
yeah.
News ad. And sure, even if he does charge us, Brenton's very good to get the loan out of to pay for the ad, you know. And that will all be good.
Yeah.
So the story you told me, you've told me your story of going in, but you both went in and saw this.
Yes.
That story continues. Is that an exception to the rule, or can there be a general heavy need in Newry on an ongoing basis in the modern age?
I mean, there is a genuine need in Newry at the present time. People are wonderful. I mean, you look at someone in the street and you say everything's all right with them, but when you go out to the house on Monday night,
Yes. Or whatever.
you see the reality of the situation.
Poor
You know,
people don't.
People
They're
broken.
not very visible, you know. They don't like to admit
Yeah.
to poverty. It's their dignity, you know, and
I know,
and
I know.
they put on a good show.
Absolutely.
And I would always say,
Absolutely.
Ron, that the hardest thing for someone to do is
It's to
sit,
walk through the St. Vincent's
is to
place.
sit
Absolutely.
down and write a letter and say,
Say,
I need
I'm bust,
help.
I'm
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
this thing. But even, you know, at times, how we manage your affairs personally. Now, I had vegetables sitting in my house for a week.
Yeah.
Now, they were on the cusp of going into outer space, carried there by fruit flies and their avian companions. But I said, now what I'll do is I'll put this in. The best thing I ever bought was a slow cooker.
Yeah.
And if we could give everybody a slow cooker,
Yeah.
but you put all the stuff in and you let it cook for 24 hours at the low heat, and then you have soup of the best.
That's right.
And then I thought to myself the other day, I was going to have to throw half of it out because I only took one lot out of it.
Right.
And then I thought, what do I do? Tesco, they'll give me, I've got from Tesco, I bought for £20 a thing called a food processor, a blender.
Yes. Yes.
So last night I blended this, and I got the most wonderful gourmet Michelin 5-star cheap soup that's in the fridge. So you know, I'm okay if I didn't have another thing for a week.
Bowl of
I
soup.
can live
Yeah.
for a week safely on what's in the fridge. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Are people able to manage once they get the little bit of a lift up from you?
Yeah, by and large.
We encourage that actually. You know,
Aye.
we aim to make people self-sufficient and to give them the you know, the dignity to manage their own affairs. So
Is
we give
that-
them a
yeah.
little lift up.
Yeah.
We also offer support in terms of, you know, advice about
Yeah.
budgeting and
Yeah.
looking after
You can come
their
to me and
affairs.
help me with that, I tell you. I have survived in life
And the
by
credit
pleading
union.
fiscal dyslexia all my life. Credit union is
credit-
The
Yeah.
credit union actually
Yeah.
offer very good service. They have a young lady called Lisa who
Yeah.
we would refer certain people to who need special help with budgeting. And it's amazing. There are a lot of people who just do not have a clue about
It's as
managing money.
Yeah, it's as simple as 19 and sixpence out, £1 in, result happiness.
Yeah.
Yes.
21 shillings out, £1 in, result unhappiness.
Yes.
I'm going to ask Andrew, have we got another guest yet, Andrew? Waiting for us now. Well, we're coming to the end of our chat.
Lovely.
But I mean, let's finalise with, you will come back again, because
absolutely,
we
yeah.
want to be...
But only if we can sing the next time.
We can sing now.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, we have to
Pat has been
practice.
practicing
There's a great song that we'll sing now, and it's part of the Taizé chant, and you'll be able to get into it. Are you ready now for this?
Ubi caritas.
Are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Ubi caritas et amor. Ubi caritas Deus ibi est. Where charity and love are, there is God.
God, absolutely.
God bless you.
Rowan, thank you very
Oh, well,
much.
take care.
Thanks a lot.
God
Rowan,
bless you.
take
All
care.
the best. And come with me on that voyage.
I
at the
will indeed,
weekend
on
sometime.
Saturday. On
Come
Saturday.
if you can. We
I will.
wish that to happen.
I'll give you a
Andrew,
ring.
take us away to another place.
Destination Newry. We're back in moments.